Hey.
Bingo, bingo. Off we go. Let's start again. Right. So you should all see that screen now.
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah.
excellent. Right, we shall begin. Um, One of the reasons why I'm giving this talk is that I received a craft development award, which is funded by the Welsh Industries Fund from the Makers Guild in Wales. And as part of the remit, I thought it would be good to share my experiences to more people, and which is great because there's quite a few of you that I'm sharing my experience with then. Now, you'll see later on, Hungary is absolutely an inspirational destination. And I have actually been 5 times now, and I'm going to go back. And you'll see why as I go through the slides. But I have to acknowledge the fact that I did get a small grant towards my trip to Hungary this year. And I'm going to mention the Hungry Bag. Now, this is a project that was set up by people that went on Flora's Felt Tour in 1924. They did a workshop with Judith Potch, and um, Judith started a bag as a demonstration, and some of the students completed the bag. And then they decided to establish this bursary by taking the bag around the world. All the participants of that particular tour, they posted the bag around the world, publicized it on Facebook to raise money. And the money raised was to enable somebody that wouldn't normally be able to attend a felt tour for one reason or another, or didn't probably have the finances to afford a felt tour, but would benefit greatly from the experience. Well, they raised enough money, and the recipient was Nicola Oliver on the tour that I attended this year. And just seeing how much he benefited from attending the tour was absolutely incredible. I won't go into detail, but it's a really worthwhile bursary. And I did email you all with the link, and it would be fantastic if you could just, if you enjoy this talk, if you could donate a couple of dollars, a couple of pounds, it would be wonderful. So I just think what I get from going on the tours with Flora is amazing. And from somebody that wouldn't necessarily be able to afford to attend one of her tours, it is just a brilliant, brilliant idea. So I mention that now, and I shall continue with the talk. Um, Flora hasn't paid me to give this talk, but I will be really promoting her talks throughout this because they are truly wonderful. As I said, I've been to Hungary 5 times now, and I have fallen in love with the country. And sharing it with Flora, who is Hungarian, for those of you that don't know her, she just spreads her love of her own country, and it's very infectious. So, a little map of Hungary. My geography is terrible. Until I go to a country, I've got no idea where everything is. I have been on 3 of Flora's felt tours now, so I've been south, east, and west. The particular tour that I'm talking about today was the east tour, and we visited Kecskemét and Hortobágy. You can see those on the map there. Um, and previously, I have been to Győr, and actually, we're going to Grollo as well. So let's just give you an idea. It's a landlocked country, and it borders on some very other interesting European countries, as you can see there. Okay, right. Um, the Museum of Ethnography is a brand new build. It's about 3 years old now, I think. And it's a purpose-built museum. As you can see here, it's an incredible building. There's these etched panels on the outside which echo the folk art designs of some of the items contained inside. It is an incredible, incredible building. I first visited Budapest in 2008, and I went to the old museum, and I spent a whole day there then. It was incredible, and I really enjoyed my day there. Um, so I was looking forward to revisiting the Museum of Ethnography. And on two subsequent visits, it was obviously closed for rent. They were building this new building. And when I went in 2020, 2019, no, 2023, it had 2023, it had opened. Somebody has got two devices on at the moment. Has that disappeared now, the feedback? Yeah, okay, great. Um, it had reopened in 2000, this it had opened in 2023, but only part of the collection was on display because they were obviously reorganizing how they were going to display the collection, which I visited this year. I spent the whole day there. This was before Flora's tour. It's not part of Flora's tour. If you go on one of her tours or if you go to Budapest, plan to spend the whole day there. Um, right. Along the two sides of the museum, there's a huge collection of ceramics on show. If you like ceramics, it is just amazing going through the centuries. And it's from all over the world. It's got a few images here, and this is free. This section of the museum is actually free. You can walk along either side of the huge staircase, and it's very well displayed. You can see this fantastic display of ceramics. I'm going to say, I haven't actually labeled these, but they are from different parts of the world. They're not all Hungarian. And then you go to see the actual collection of, let's say, the folk art of Hungary, and it is huge. I'm just going to show a few images here, but I took hundreds because the examples on show are absolutely amazing. The embroidery, the lace, the stitched leather work here, it is just incredible. And if you're interested in this kind of folk art, then you must go. So I'm just going to flick through some of the images here. Their furniture, icons, musical instruments. They have got everything here. So basketry, some lovely basketry, and there's a cradle there. And I love these big boots. I'm not quite sure what they're for. They were very big, but they're quite amazing. Maybe you can put some wool inside and have them as woolly slippers. Okay. So the examples of the exhibits here are a really high standard, really high standard. Uh, oops. I'm not quite sure what the symbolism of the red and black. Obviously, it is a reason why they use red a lot in their embroidery, but it is very dominant in the designs, red and white for the bed linen. And here's some felt, this beautiful felt jacket. The embroidery on that was absolutely stunning. And I'll just zoom through some of these, but it's phenomenal, really phenomenal. And the ruffle on the neck of this one is quite incredible. And this is more stitching on leather, which is again quite amazing. So the quality of this work is really, really good. Let's stick through this because I haven't got past the first day yet. You see the costumes on the left. They layer a lot of the work with their pinafores over their blouses, over their skirts. Okay. Now, I'm going to mention the blueprint because I'm going to come back to that in a minute. Um, Blueprint dyeing is sort of indigo. It's what they call their indigo dyeing, and it's a traditional craft in Hungary. Um, Unfortunately, there's only a couple of factories or workshops now where they still do it. There were hundreds at one time, and they've disappeared over the years, which is really, really sad. The unlike African and Indian um, indigo dyeing is much more sophisticated. They use a mineral to create the resist solution, which they print onto the fabric, and they use these very, very fine stamps, these blocks. So the actual work they produce is really, really precise and beautiful. It's such a shame that it is a dying craft in Hungary. By chance, this exhibition was on, it was Patchwork, which arrived in Hungary in 1989. Um, and they're using the blueprint fabric in these quilts. And I was staggered by these quilts because they're primarily handmade. I know in Europe, in the UK, in the States, there's a big quilting tradition. But these days, many people have got these machines that do the quilting automatically, and they use a lot of machine stitching. The majority of these were hand, all the quilting was done by hand. A lot of the stitching and the applique work was done by hand. It was just unbelievable. Really, really beautiful. You can see the detail here, incorporating the blueprint fabric with the quilting patterns. It's really, really stunning. This was another exhibition that was on at the ethnography exhibition, which was again really interesting in that they had discovered glass negatives, a collection of glass negatives from a few print studios. Now, this is really important find because most of the glass negatives have been destroyed over the years because they were reused to make glass houses, greenhouses. They were, but they weren't actually kept, unlike or negative. So it was a really beneficial find to be able to restore these glass negatives and reprint them. And by doing that, they discovered the costumes of they could actually locate the photographs right down to a village because the costumes are very localized and people wear distinctive costumes from each region, even from each village. So it was a really interesting exhibition, and I was so lucky to be able to see this because it was an exhibition, a temporary exhibition on at the museum. See the stitching away. There's a lovely photograph. But it was interesting how the costumes varied. Some of the photographs were very posed, and they would have worn the costumes just for there's a wedding photograph or a family photograph. So some were actually still worn. But it was really interesting to see all these different costumes and the variations in the costumes. I didn't take that many photographs of that, but I just wanted to raise that because I found that quite interesting. Still not on the tour yet. This is my second day in Budapest, and I went to the Museum of Textile and Clothing, where it was so the development of the textile industry in Hungary. And this particular factory, which is now a museum, was originally a blueprint factory. And you can see there how they would dye it. They'd suspend the fabric from this round circular hook on hooks, and it would be dipped into the dye vat, into the indigo vat. And to get that beautiful intense blue, I think is was dipped up to 14 times. Quite incredible and quite precise. So this particular factory started off as a blueprint factory, and you can see here it's a Goldbagger family that founded it, and you can see just there that all the different materials required to dye, the minerals to create the paste that they would print onto the surface. And here there's some beautiful stamps, aren't they lovely? And so they dominated the industry for a very long time. Um, but over time, they were looking at finding methods for printing that were more economically viable, because obviously the blueprint is quite labor intensive and expensive technique. So they were looking at screen printing and looking at different ways of creating a similar effect more cheaply. And then they carried on developing and actually doing more screen printing fabric. Um, and in brief, the I say World War II had a devastating effect on the family, and the business eventually went bankrupt in 1989. But the museum is a fascinating place to visit because it actually takes you through the centuries of how they developed and changed, how they developed to the Russian market, creating horrible synthetic fabric, which is a far cry from their beautiful blueprint fabric that they originated with. But it's and sadly, the museum that doesn't tend to get great attendance. I was the only person there when I went, and it's not far out. It's only a short bus journey out of the centre of Budapest, so it's definitely worth visiting. Um, Had a day trip up to the mountains, the beautiful Buddha Hills, where you can oversee Budapest. And the Children's Railway, just mentioned this briefly, it started in communist times, but it's run by children. The idea was that the children would, I think, spend a fortnight there and they would be trained how to run a railway, basically. They drove it, they at the ticket office, the station, they the signals at the station, and it's continued. And now school children still do run it. I think they have a fortnight where the best students are allowed to actually spend a fortnight there, so it's a real treat for them. Um, but it goes off into the mountains, and it is beautiful up there. Um, Unfortunately, the day that we went up there, the cable car was under maintenance, so we had to walk all the way back down again. So do check that the cable car is working before you take the trip up there. It was quite an adventure. It was a real adventure. But it's lovely to go up into the hills, into the mountains. You can see the city, but you feel as if you're in the country. Okay, so a few pictures of Budapest, just to give you a feel for the city. And then we started the tour with Flora, and the first visit was to the Hungarian Heritage House, which is another lovely museum. And there was an exhibition on there on floral designs in their folk art. And again, even more lovely pieces, lovely embroidery, and all beautifully displayed. It's very a small exhibition, and it's just the right size to do in about three-quarters of an hour. Perfect. I love these bonnets. They're beautiful. And the aprons are a very important part of the folk costumes in Hungary. That's good. Okay. And this was interesting to see. There's an educational part of the Heritage House. Obviously, they're teaching people about the Hungarian heritage of crafts, and there's these lovely felt games that they'd created for children to play with, or adults, as we did. We played with them too. And then Obviously, Hungary is very famous for its Art Nouveau crafts, and fortunately, there's quite a lot preserved and remaining for you to see. And this is a house in Budapest that we visited, and which has been restored, and it is absolutely beautiful. I love that carpet. I want that carpet, the one on the right, on the left rather. Mm. But it's a beautiful restoration. The light in the house is fantastic. Just to give you another side of Budapest, this is where we ate 26. It is a restaurant where they keep it at 26 degrees. And so you have these lovely plants kind of falling off the balcony, and you look up and you can see it's very nice setting, and some food as well. The braised cabbage there was absolutely delicious. Um, I must admit, Hungarian food is very tasty, and we were introduced to quite a few different delights of Hungarian food. Okay. From Budapest, we went to Godolo, which is again a centre where there is a lot of Art Nouveau artists lived and worked, and so it's got a quite a strong links now with Art Nouveau. One of the places that we did visit was the Royal Palace, which is was a favourite residence of Queen Sissi, and that's a long history there. Um, I just mentioned that in the document that I sent, the file I attached to the invitation, all the links to these places are included in that document, so you can click on them and onto the websites and find out more information. And again, this has been restored, and they've restored all the fabric as well, which I'm going to show you just now in a minute. But it's been beautifully restored again. I love the fires in the corners of the room, and they've reproduced all the fabric, the curtains, and they're really beautiful as well, all woven fabrics. Okay, we did our first workshop in Godolo with Gabriela Kovac, and this is her work here. Um, and so Hungarian felt makers are superb. They really do know their craft, and the finish and their use of colour is absolutely splendid. And look, we've also got Hungarian biscuits as well, which have got similar motifs. And again, this is some of Gabby's work. We were lucky enough while we were in Hungary that there were several textile exhibitions happened to be on at the same time we were there. And there was this fantastic exhibition of four textile artists, all female, and there's a fabulous exhibition, so lucky to see it. This is Flora Ramsey, who is a weaver. Um, And these are large, large pieces. Beautiful, beautiful tapestry weaving. There's a textural one there, and very clever the way that she worked. That it's like an optical illusion, the way that she uses color. And this is a stunning piece. Very, very big, large, large piece. That's details. You can see how fine and intricate the weaving is. This is Elizabeth Bodish. Now she than a tapestry weaver, but I adored her watercolor sketches. They were absolutely beautiful. Just loved her use of color and this very lightness of touch. They're really lovely. She looks quite stern there, doesn't she? And this is one of her weavings on the left there. Uh, Erzsébet Katona Szabo, I'm not going to pronounce that correctly, her work was very different in that she used scraps of leather which she found in factories. It was the offcuts that were going to be just a waste leather, and she stitched them together and she created these fantastic hangings. And then she cut them out further, and then the way they were displayed, the shadows of the patterns that were created, you could see behind. Very intricate, very beautiful. This one here on the left was quite amazing, extremely intricate. And you can see that she's working on it there in the photograph her on the right. The close-up of the detail there. Very, very finely cut out. Before laser cutters were invented, all cut out by hand. Another one which is you can see the shadows behind. The venue for this is another a museum was being restored too, but they love the way that the paint had been stripped at the back, so you get this oh I can't think of the word now, but it's not perfect. It's oh anyway that this it reflects the actual weaving. In Japan, this work is stunning at ikat weaving, but apparently she dyes the fabric on the loom rather than preparing the loom and dyeing the fabric and then putting it on the loom. She dyes it on the loom, and she can't see what she's doing further up the loom, if you see what I mean. I'm not a weaver, I know a little bit about it, but not a lot. So that must be quite amazing that she can't see the end result of what she's weaving. But they are the colours of these, they're so subtle, they're really, really beautiful. That's it's very subtle, soft colours. Distressed walls, that's the word I wanted to just come up with. Now, this is in the library. It's one of Flora's works. Not Flora, young Flora, older Flora. Um, and put a photograph with Flora in front of it. And this is in the library in Ketchkemet. No, it's not. It's Garolo. I've got the wrong. And this is the City Library, and on display here are some students' work from the local college, which I thought was lovely to see, taking on the traditions of Garolo, that they are studying weaving and producing this amazing work. And this is wired, and I like the displayed on the brickwork. I think they complemented each other perfectly. Okay, more food, just to show you that it wasn't all exhibitions. This was food, lots of meat here. The vegetables were available, but there's a platter of meat. We did have lots of food. And we were very lucky. Now we are in Ketchkemet, and we were very lucky by chance. There was an exhibition of Kinga Foldy, her textile work, in the International Ceramics Gallery Centre. And it wasn't open yet, but we were allowed a sneak preview. Now, her work is quite incredible. It's sculpted fabric, um, really organic forms. The detail, and they're big pieces as well. Very intricate. I was very privileged to be able to see that exhibition because it had, and it's almost like bark, but it was actually fabric. Yeah, the International Ceramics Studio is an amazing place. If you're a potter, you would just think you'd died and gone to heaven because they've got kilns. They've got all varieties of different kinds of kiln, rakus. Is it salt glaze? If I won't do salt glazing, it's a big centre with glazing booths, and oh, it was just amazing. And had lots of the ceramic sculptures on display in the gardens. and they run regular workshops there, and there was there were a group of potters studying on a residential course there. Okay, and Kecskemét, a bit of detail of Kecskemét. That was very Hungary is very clean and green. It was quite delightful just to and very spacious in the towns as well. Whoops, hang on. Um, And our next workshop was Anika Borosh, who makes this very fine detailed jewellery. So precise, it's quite perfect. And these are some of her work. And she dyes her own wool. You can see the gradation of colours there, very subtle. There's some more of her work here. Beautiful floral displays in Kecskemét. Oh yes, and more food. That was the lovely. It's like a strudel, but with meringue on top. Really delicious. This is where we stayed in Kecskemét, the Art Nouveau, the creative house, and this was built to host residents of artists, where they had the bedrooms attached to these fantastic studios with northern light, and absolutely fabulous place to work. Um, it's a real privilege to stay there and a great environment to work, to have a studio with your bedroom attached. You could just fall out of bed into the studio and start working. Um, okay, back to this is Judith Potch, who was our third tutor. And she actually lives in Ketchkemet, and this is actually her garden. Her husband is also an artist and filmmaker, so he using offcut scraps of has created this gorgeous garden. And her studio, she put on a display for us of her work. And again, you can see the fine Hungarian felt making here, really beautiful colours. And the purchases were made by several of us on the tour. Um, we then went to this is the folk handicraft school in Naduvak. This was really interesting again, where they're trying to preserve Hungarian crafts, and they're trying to encourage students to go there to learn the traditional crafts, and so in order to retain the skills. And they have weaving. This is weaving. And leather work. I saw some of the leather work in the museum, the ethnography museum. And this is some of the leather work created in the folk craft school. Woodwork as well. And this is an instrument which makes a very unusual sound. Um, it's quite unique. For the students there, they can go free, and if you've got Hungarian heritage, you can also go and train there for free. They're really trying to encourage students to go and retain the skills. Ceramics. And of course, felt. We went to visit the workshop of Agula. I can't pronounce that one properly, but he was a last hat maker, traditional hat maker, and these were just incredible. His widow talked us through about 100 different hats. Now, each hat was for a different region, a shepherd in a different region. So you could distinguish, like that the photographs that I talked about earlier, you could distinguish where they came from by the shape of their hat. It's quite amazing. All very different. All very different. This is one or two hat blocks there. And they make the felt without any soap. They use the bow method of actually carding the wool and laying it down, which is where they shake a bow to release and open out the fibres. It's quite a long process, but they still use that technique there. His family have carried on the tradition. They still do make hats there. Unfortunately, they don't make the whole range of shapes now. They just seem to make one shape of hat. This is an organic farm we also visited, and they had a lovely collection of these shepherd coats. These are the coats worn by the shepherds. Oh yes, and I love the curly coated sheep. They're pigs, not sheep, but they do look a bit sheepy, don't they? They're really funny. Uh, this is another centre we visited where there's leather work. And I love these stools that they're sitting on with the clamps on. Aren't they amazing? It's great to hold your work and be able to sit down and work at the same time. I thought that's a really clever idea. This is the right height, um, perfect, without to get somebody to copy that idea and make some in the UK. Now, Mihaly Vetra is a wonderful man. He knows everything there is to know about felt making from well, Asia, and he's studied to, and brought the skills back to Asia and be manage and creates the rugs and stools, hats, um, slippers in the traditional style. Um,
Lovely.
yeah, they're amazing, and created this yurt which was funded by the government, and he has storytelling sessions there with children. But we were lucky enough to have a story told to us. It was really magical to sit in the yurt and have a Hungarian folk story told to you. And the students from the Hungarian folk art school made the rugs and the stalls and everything in the yurt. Really, really beautiful. Then we headed to Horta, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and they have a day where they herd the sheep. We actually missed it, unfortunately, didn't see very much of the sheep herding, but we did see the shepherds in these fantastic coats and and their hats. It was just amazing to see them. It was very warm. It was a hot day, and they kept them on. It's absolutely beautiful. And just to finish off with a few bits and pieces, this is the metro in Budapest, which is really lovely. And a few more little bits. This is the synagogue is on the right, and obviously some more cake. You have to have cake in Budapest. There's some wonderful traditional cafes there that you have to visit. And we were lucky, again by chance. One of the well, this was Nicola had heard of this, knew of this artist that had visited Australia, and happened to discover that she had an exhibition in Budapest. Purely by chance, we heard about this, and Her work was absolutely stunning. It was downstairs in a gallery with no natural light, and the walls were painted black, which really showed off the colours. As you can see, they're textile, fabric, paper, stitched and cut out. So you've got the shadows showing through onto the wall behind. And this is all to do with location. If you see their maps, they've got the red disc of the pinpoint of where you are. So they're all to do with maps and location. But this was just another lovely, lovely exhibition and very, very well displayed, a perfect venue. And you see the shadows on the wall for the light shining through the different layers of the artworks. And there's some lovely, wonderful traditional shops as well. There was but the button shop, and there's a leather workshop and haberdashery. So obviously, if you're a textile person, you take great delight in visiting these places, and you can't walk away without buying something to add to your stash. This is the House of Music, which is next door to the Museum of Ethnography, another new building, another museum. Again, really beautiful, very unique and interesting. And that is it. So I shall stop sharing. You've all been very quiet. I hope I haven't bored you too much. Uh, I just get a snapshot really of a Hungary tour. Uh, it's absolutely delightful, Hungary. The people are very friendly. They want to share their culture with you. And what I love so much about it is that they want to preserve their culture. Um, Whereas in other countries, I don't think they pay much attention to preserving their culture. Um, Obviously, there's contemporary work going on as well, but I just and but it the essence of the traditional crafts comes through into the contemporary work as well. So I'm going back to Hungary again next year and the year after. So I hope I've helped to inspire you. Flora, actually, it's not paid me to speak about her tours, but they are wonderful. And she spreads the joy of her love of Hungary. And I
Sorry, what was the tours called, Mandy?
they're felt they're primarily on felting.
Yeah.
Because Flora is a felt maker. Um, but she also incorporates her culture and shows us her culture at the same time. So
And
we've
is
got
it a company that you can book with?
no, Flora isn't a company. It's just
Oh, sorry.
Flora. She's there. She's just Flora. She.
It's me. It's
Do
myself.
Sorry.
I do
Oh,
everything.
hello.
you
I'm the
want to
one
say?
behind the scenes.
Do you want to say something about it, Flora? About your tours, Flora?
Well, I think you did an amazing job. Um, well, I think it was very clear that I organize 5 days workshops with the most amazing tutors. And since fighting is quite physical, I like balancing the workshops with fun activities. So we go to the exhibits and thermal baths and concerts and
I didn't mention the bar.
art fairs.
I didn't mention the
And
baths. No, another Hungarian tradition are the thermal baths, and they're quite something to be experienced as well. They're amazing. And ice cream. So I'm just looking in the chat here. There's some comments in the chat, but has anybody got questions at all?
When you said
Oh,
about Hungarian fairy tales, are they like Brothers Grimm, or are there special Hungarian fairy tales?
I think that they're not dissimilar to some of our folk tales because I think because they're passed on by word of mouth. Was that I can't remember the tale that Misha told, but it was similar to other ones that you would have here with because we've got a storytelling tradition in the UK as well, and some of the tales are very similar because sometimes there's a bit of a moral behind them as well.
Mm.
Mm.
I love the rugs.
They're gorgeous,
Yeah,
aren't they? Yeah,
absolutely, and
yeah.
knockout.
Well, Flora could teach you how to make a rug if you've got the energy to do it.
I have one. It's fantastic. I use it every day at my front door. I just wanted to say that the whole embracing the culture and the history and the textiles from, hundreds or even thousands of years ago is so foreign to me in Canada, where Canada is only 150 years old. And our cultural history is a melting pot. So there, other than the indigenous people, there is no Canadian one culture. So it's really neat to see, the textiles and the motifs and repeated, and the villages having, different ways of dressing and styles. I think that's fascinating,
Mm.
and I need to go to Hungary.
Absolutely, absolutely. I
And
think,
when do you do the tours, Flora? Are they sort of organized with groups, or do you run them anyhow and then
I
people book
usually
in?
do two. I usually I live in Seattle in Washington State, so quite far away. So I usually one or two in the spring and one in the fall.
All right.
First year it was a coincidence to have the Shepherds Festival at the same time.
Yeah.
Since then, I make sure that it's part of our program because it's very unique, it's a mind-blowing event. It's something that the shepherds organized for themselves, so it's not a tourist activity, but I mean, witnessing the tradition, it's
Looks
amazing.
yeah.
And so that was the first itinerary I developed in 2016, and then participants kept wanting coming back. So far I developed 5 itineraries. One this year we have one in the east and the west and the south. The south, now it's a new one that I developed. So we visit my hometown, and I figured that the East and the West tour are so strenuous. I don't know what how you feel, man, but it's so fully packed and we travel a lot and we see a
yeah,
lot.
yeah.
I wanted to have a tour where we spend 7 days in my hometown, so it's not so much traveling. It's still very full, but we do what the city offers. So it's not running after textile activities or exhibits, but whatever is available locally. And I invite the instructors from different cities.
Sounds superb, actually.
It's
Sounds really
good.
good.
Yeah, yeah. Hmm. So I normally always stay a few extra days so that I can explore a bit more, especially at Budapest. It's like any big city, there's so much to see there.
Mm,
I haven't seen half of the museums that there are there.
gosh.
So, yeah, there's still more to see.
And we were very lucky with this group this year. There were so many amazing textile exhibits. Wherever we went, in Gödöllő, in Budapest, they were amazing. But sometimes we do other, so it's not I try to find primarily textile or fiber exhibits or art fairs, but sometimes it's a little wider context of art.
Mm.
I'm very fortunate for the younger generation to have this, encouraged into their curriculum and their education to continue with the crafts and, be subsidized for it is so special.
Mm.
Really,
Mm-mm.
Mhm.
yeah, really inspiring.
Mm.
Flora, will you be posting the tours on your website, or how will we know about them?
Well, I started a pre-registration list. So if you're interested in joining me, send me an email and I will put you in a pre-registration list. I send these people the dates before I publish them on my website. And then I also have an email list. So you can sign up for the email list on the website. It's fivetours.com.
I did it in the attachment that I sent you.
Oh, right. Oh, brilliant.
If you print, well, I've said this because if you open it, all the links to everything are on there rather than print it. If you click on the links, they take you to more information about all the artists and venues and Flora's tours. So it will. So if you want to do some further research, you can.
That's super.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And also, don't forget, if you have enjoyed it, please make a small donation to the Hungry Bag Project.
To who? Sorry?
The Hungry Bag Project. The link is
Oh,
also
right. Yeah.
is also there as well.
On the same page.
Yeah, there's the GoFundMe. Is it GoFundMe? You just click on that and you can instantly make a small donation.
Yeah.
Right.
I believe that Flora has an exhibit opening in my town tomorrow in Laconner. Yeah.
Yeah, I just got a call during your demonstration. They were checking me about the setting. They are hanging my work today.
I wondered if you would be here with that being hung, but I'll have to see you there. Yeah.
Yeah, there will be a reception on August 15th if you can come.
Yeah, I will come. Good.
Okay, well, I'm going to stop recording now. If I can find the stop record button. There we go. And